Pranam everyone, Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
So let's start Mangalacharan. Namo Oriyantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Savvasahunam, Eso Panchana Mukkaro Savva Pava Panasano, Manglarancha Savve Sim Paramam Bhavai Mangalam. रागद्वेष विजेतारं ज्ञातारं विश्ववस्तुना शक्रपूज्य गिरामेशं तीर्थे संस्तुतिमानये पन्नगे च सुनेन्द्रे च कौशिके पादसंस्कृते निर्विशेषमनस्काय श्रीवीरस्वामिने नमः। अज्ञानां तिमिरान्धानां ज्ञानजननी शलाकया नेत्रम् उन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। So, welcome everyone. Today is the 5th class of Tirthankar Charitra. So, in this class, we will continue with our discussion of the last BHAV of Bhagwan Rishabhdev's Jeevan, and we'll also discuss further about the structure of our 14 Rajlok. So, I think we all know the basic structure of the 14 Rajlok. So, we know the 14 Rajlok is divided into 3 sections. There is Urdhvalok, that is 7 Rajju in height. Then there is Madhyalok, that is 1800 yojans in height. And this Madhyalok is also known as Tirchalok, and it extends 900 yojans above the Swayambhutal Bhumi and 900 yojans below the Swayambhutal Bhumi. And then the last section is Adholok, and Adholok is also 7 Rajju in height. And in the center of this Chaudrajlok is a thrust nadi that runs from the top to the bottom of the Chaudrajlok. And this thrust nadi is 1 Rajju in width and Chaud Rajju in height. And as you know, all the thrust jeeves can only exist within the thrust nadi. And outside the thrust nadi, there are all the Stavar Ikindriya jeeves. So far what we have learned is we have learned about the Urdhvalok. We saw that top of the Urdhvalok is the Siddhasila, and that is 45 lakh yojan in diameter. And just below the Siddhasila, you have got 5 Anuttar Viman. Below the 5 Anuttar Viman, you have got 9 Gravyak Devloks. And below the 9 Gravyak Devloks, you have got 12 Vaimanik Devloks. And if you count the locations and the dwellings for the Kilbishak Devtas, there are 3 dwellings for Kilbishak Devtas and 1 dwelling for Lokantik Devtas. So total 16 Vaimanik Devloks. Then the last class we were looking at the structure of the Madhyalok, and we saw that Madhyalok is a place where we live, where the Manushya and Tiryansh, they all live. And below the Swayambhutal Bhumi, we saw there are Vyantar Devas and Vyanvantar Devas and Tirya Grumbhak Devtas. They stay up till the 900 Yojan Bhumi. And above the Swayambhutal Bhumi, there are the Jyotis Devtas that also extend up till 900 Yojan Bhumi. So the center of the Madhyalok, we saw last time, we have got Meru Parvat, and this Meru Parvat is 1 lakh yojans in height. It is 99,000 yojans above the surface of the Swayambhutal Bhumi and 1,000 yojans below the surface of the Swayambhutal Bhumi. So surrounding the Meru Parvat, you have got Asankhya, that is countless, Dvips and Samudras. And the first 2.5 Dvips and Samudras is known as Adi Dvip. And in this Adi Dvip, you have got all the Jyotis Devtas that are mobile. That means there are 5 types of Jyotis Devtas we saw last time. Those are sun, the moon, the constellations, the planets, and the nakshatras. So all these Jyotis Devtas in the Adi Dvip, they rotate around the Meru Parvat. And in the Adi Dvip, we have got 132 suns, that is Suryas, and 132 Chandras. And outside the Adi Dvip, there are Asankhya, countless suns and moons, but they are all stationary. They do not rotate around the Meru Parvat. So this is a basic structure we were talking about last time. And then we also saw the Adholok. So Adholok, we have got 7 Narkavas, and we are going to talk about the details and the structure of the 7 Narkavas in this class. And we saw that in the first Narkavas, that is Ratna Prabha Bhumi, you have got 25 different types of Bhuvanpati Devtas. And out of that, 10 are Asur Kumars and 15 are Paramadhami Devtas. So we were discussing about some of the things given in the Jeev Vichar, and we saw that the Panchendriya Jeevs, they are classified in 535 different types. And in the last few classes, we discussed about 198 different types of Devtas. And we saw these Devtas are 99 types, and they can be both Paryapt and can be Aparyapt. And therefore, there are 198 different types of Devtas. And these Devtas are in all the three loks, Urdhvalok, Madhyalok, and Adholok. So in today's class, we'll see about the Narki. We'll see about the 14 different types of Jeeves of Narki and 14 classifications of Jeeves of Narki. So there are 7 Narkavas, and this all Narkavas, they are all in the Adholok, that is below the Tirchalok. The names of the 7 Narkavas are: first is Ratna Prabha, second is Sarkara Prabha, third is Valuka Prabha, fourth is Panka Prabha, fifth is Dhum Prabha, sixth is Tama Prabha, and seventh is Mahatama Prabha. So these are the names of 7 Narkavas. And the thing to remember about the 7 Narkavas is the pains, the ayushyas, the height, and everything goes on increasing as you go down. That means the 7th Narkavas, that is Mahatama Prabha Bhumi, as the maximum pains and maximum ayushya. Now the Jeevs that are living in the 7 Narkavas, they have got some names. So all the Narki Jeevs that are living in the Ratna Prabha Bhumi, they are known as Dhamma. So that is the name of the Jeevs. The Jeev, the Narki Jeevs in the Sarkara Prabha Bhumi, they are known as Vansha. In Valuka Prabha, they are known as Shaila. In Panka Prabha, they are known as Anjan. In Dhum Prabha, they are known as Risht. In Tama Prabha, they are known as Maga. And in Mahatama, the last Narak, it is known as Magwati. So these are the classical names of the Jeevs that are in the 7 Narkavas. Now, all the Jeevs in the 7 Narkavas, they all have the Vaikriya Sharir, similar to the Sharir, the body of the Devs. So that means the Paryapti of the Jeevs of Narki is same as the Jeevs of the Devlok. So that means for the first 48 minutes, for the first Antar Murad, they are all known as Aparyapt. And after the Antar Murad, they all become Paryapt. So like the Dev Gati, the Narak Gati, the minimum Ayushya of the Jeeves in the Narak Gati is 10,000 years. So by default, all the Jeeves in the Narki will become Paryapt after the first 48 minutes. So there are 14 types of Jeeves. There are 7 Aparyapt and 7 types of Paryapta Jeeves in Narki. So now let's talk about some details and structure of the 7 Narkavas. So as we saw just below the Tirchalok, just below the Madhyalok, you have got the Bhumi of the first Narkavas, that is Ratna Prabha Bhumi. And we saw in this Bhumi, there are 25 different types of Bhuvanpati Devs. They also live in this first Narkavas. Now the distance between the first Narkavas and the second Narkavas is Asankhya Yojans, that is countless Yojans. Similarly, the distance between the Sarkara Prabha and Valuka Prabha, the second and third Narak, is also Asankhya Yojans. So distance between any two Naraks is Asankhya Yojans. Now, one thing to remember here is the thickness. The thickness of the Narkavas goes on decreasing as you go down. So we saw in our last class, the thickness of the first Narak is 180,000 yojans. And the second Narak, the thickness is smaller than the thickness of the first Narak. So in the second Narak, the thickness is 132,000 yojans. Third Narak, the thickness further decreases, it's 128,000 yojans, and so on and so forth. So thickness of this bhumis, as you go down, it decreases, but the width or the breadth of the Narkavas, it increases. So in the next slide, we'll see what is the thickness and what is the breadth of each of the Narkavas. So first Ratna Prabha, as we saw, is 180,000 yojans in thickness, but the width is 1 rajju in width. The second Sharkara Prabha, it decreases to 132,000 yojans and the breadth is 2.5 rajjus. So similarly, if you go down all the way to the seventh Narak, that is Mahatama Prabha, the thickness is 108,000 yojans and the width is 7 rajjus. So the width increases and the thickness decreases as you go down. So if you see each of the Narkavas, the bhumi or the land of each of the Narak is supported by the 4 layers. So the first layer is known as Ganodadi, and below Ganodadi you have got Ganvat, below Ganvat you have got Tanvat, and below Tanvat you have got Akash. So what is Ganodadi? Ganodadi is a thick layer of liquid water. So thick layer of liquid water is known as Ganodadi. Then Ganvat is thick layer of air. Tanvat is thin layer of air, and Akash is just the empty space. So each Narkavas is supported by these 4 layers. So if you go from top to bottom, you will have the first, the Bhumi of Ratnaprabha, and just below the Bhumi of Ratnaprabha, you will have the Ganodadi, that is a thick layer of water. And below Ganodadi, you will have Ganvat, that is thick layer of air. And below Ganvat, you will have Tanvat, that is thin layer of air. And below Tanvat, you will have empty space, that is Akash. And after that, the Bhumi of second Narkavas, that is Sarkara Prabha starts. Now the thickness of Ganodadi, that is a thick water, is 20,000 yojans. So this thickness remains same after each Narkavas. So Ganodadi is 20,000 yojans. After that, there is Ganvat. This Ganvat is Asankhya yojans. After that, it's Tanvat, and Tanvat is also Asankhya yojans. And after that, there is Akash. There is also Asankhya yojans. So that is how each of these 7 Narkavas are structured. Now the shape of all this Ganodadi, Ganvat, Tanvat is in the form of circular shape. It's form of Valai. Therefore, they are also known as Ganodadi Valai, Ganvat Valai, Tanvat Valai, and then Akash. So if you are going from top to bottom, let me use a laser pointer. So if you are going from top to bottom, you will first see the Bhumi of Ratnaprabha, then you will see the Ganodadi Valai. Just below Ganodadi Valai, you have got Ganvat Valai. Below Ganvat Valai, you have got Tanvat Valai. Below Tanvat Valai, you have got Asankhya Yojans of Akash. And again, the Bhumi of the Narkavas starts. So that is how each you have to imagine for each of the 7 Naraks. So now let's see the heights of the Jeev in these 7 Naraks. So in order to understand the height, you have to understand some of the basic terms. So first thing is Angul. What is Angul? Angul is a length of a finger. So the finger is known as 1 Angul. So 24 Anguls makes 1 hand, that is 1 Hath, and 4 Hath makes 1 Dhanushya. So this is the basic definitions you will find across all our Shastras. Angul is the width of a finger, hand is 1 Hath, and 4 Hath is 1 Dhanushya. So the Jeevs, as you go down from the first to 7th Narak, the height keeps on increasing. So in the first Narak, the height of the Jeevs is 7 Dhanushya, 3 hands and 6 Anguls. So in the second Narak, it increases to 15 Dhanushya, 2 hands and 12 Anguls. So as you go down in the 6th Narak, you have got 250 Dhanushya, and in the 7th Narak, you have got 500 Dhanushya. So basically the height increases, and the reason why the height increases is, the more the height, the more the body, the more the pain. So that is the reason why the height keeps on increasing as you go down to the 7th Narak. Next, let's see the Ayushya of the Jeeves in the 7th Narak. Now here the Ayushya also keeps on increasing as you go down. So before we understand what is the Ayushya, let's understand some of the basic terms in terms of our time or our Kal in our Jain Shastra. So it is said that the smallest unit of time is known as Samay. And there are Asankhya Samays that goes through in a just blink of an eye. So one blink of an eye or 1 second has got Asankhya Samays. So countless Samay is known as 1 Avlika, and 256 Avlika is known as 1 Shulak Bhav. Now this 1 Shulak Bhav is the lifespan or the life cycle of the smallest Jeev, that is Nigod. So Nigod Jeev, they live for the time that is known as 1 Shulak Bhav, and that is 256 Avlikas. So 65,536 Shulak Bhavs is known as 1 Murat, and we all know 1 Murat as 48 minutes. The time we do the Samaik is known as 1 Murat. So that is 48 minutes. And 30 Murats, it makes 1 day. And then if you count 15 days, that if you count a Shukla Paks or if you count a Chandra Paksh, it is known as 1 Ahoratri or 1 fortnight. And 2 Ahoratris, that means 1 Shukla Paksh and 1 Chandra Paksh, is known as 1 month or 1 Mas. And 2 Mas makes 1 Rutu, that is 1 season. And 3 seasons makes 1 Ayan. And 2 Ayans is 1 year. And 5 years in our Shastra is known as 1 Yug. And 84 lakh years is known as 1 Purvang. And 84 lakh Purvangs is known as 1 Purva. So that is where our counting basically stops after the Purva. There is no real numbers after 1 Purva. So after a Purva, there is a time that is known as Palyopam. So what is Palyopam? In order to understand Palyopam is basically countless years. But in order to understand Palyopam, our Shastra has given some definition. It says that if you dig a circular well, that is 1 yojan in diameter and 1 yojan deep, and if you fill this well completely with the hair of yugliks, now the hair of yugliks are very soft and very small, and you fill this whole well completely with the hairs of yuglik, that no more hairs can come inside this well. And and every 100 years you take out 1 hair, and the time it takes to empty the whole well is known as 1 palyopam. So it's basically countless years. And after palyopam is a sagaropam. So 10 crores times crores palyopam, that is 10 koda kodi palyopam, is known as 1 sagaropam. And 10 koda kodi sagaropam is 1 utsarpini or 1 ausarpini. And if you count 1 kal chakra is 1 utsarpini plus 1 ausarpini, that is 20 koda kodi sagaropam. And anant kal chakra is 1 pudgal paravart kal. In future classes we'll talk about what is pudgal paravart kal. There are different types of pudgal paravart kal, dravya kshetra kal bhav. So we can talk about in our next classes. But the largest measurement of time is known as 1 pudgal paravart kal. So now let's see the Ayushya of the Jeeves of Narki. So in the first Narak, the minimum Ayushya is 10,000 years, and the maximum Ayushya of the Jeev is 1 Sagaropam. In the second Narak, it increases, the minimum Ayushya is 1 Sagaropam, and the maximum Ayushya is 3 Sagaropams. So similarly, the 7th Narak, the minimum Ayushya is 22 Sagaropams, and the maximum Ayushya is 33 Sagaropams. So if you see the 7 Narkavas, the pain increases as you go down, the height increases, as well as the Ayushya also increases as you go down to the 7th Narak. So last time we were seeing about the Bhuvanpati Devs that live in the first Narkavas, that is Ratnaprabha Bhumi. And we saw there are 10 types of Asur Kumars and 15 types of Parmadamis. And we saw the names of 15 Parmadamis, Ambarish, Shyam, Shabal, Rudra, and so on and so forth. So these Parmadamis, we saw that they basically give pains to the Jeev of Narkis. They torture them, and by doing that, they get the enjoyment. And these Parmadamis, they only go up till the 3rd Narak. So they only give the pain to the Jeevs of Narki up till the 3rd Narak. After the 3rd Narak, there are no Parmadamis. The Parmadami do not go to the 4th Narak. In the 4th Narak onwards, the pain is it's a different kind of pain. It's pain of Kshetra, and it's a different kind of pain. So we saw, so let's see the structure of the first Narkavas. So we saw in our last class that the first Narkavas is 180,000 yojans. And if you leave out the first 1,000 yojans and the last 1,000 yojans, the middle 178,000 yojans is divided into 12 sections. And each of this section we saw is known as Antra, and each Antra is 11,583 yojans. So between the Antra, there is what we call as a layer of Pratar. And this Pratar is 3,000 yojans. So if you see the Bhumi of the first Narkavas, you have got Antra, you have got Pratar, you have got Antra, you have got Pratar, and so on and so forth. So Antra is the place where all the Bhuvanpati Dev lives, and the Pratar are the places where all the Narki Jeev lives. So there are 13 Pratars, and these 13 Pratars are where the Jeevs of the Narki, they live. So let's see the structure, the cross section of the first Narkavas in some more details. So on the Swayambhutal Bhumi, we have got Meru Parvat, and just below the Meru Parvat, for the first 10 yojans, you have got Sunya Pind. Sunya Pind is empty space. There is nothing over there. And then after that, we saw for the next 80 yojans, that it's Vyantar Devtas, the Devtas that live in the jungles and trees. So they live up till 80 yojans. And after that, again, there is a Sunya Pind. Sunya Pind is empty space. And just below, you have got Vyantar Devtas. And Vyantar Devtas are all our Yaksh, Yakshinis, Manibhadra, Padmavati, Chakkeshwari. They all live in this 800 yojans. So after that, the Tirchalok basically stops and the Adholok begins. So first in the Adholok, the first 100 yojans is empty space. Then there is a 300 yojans that is known as Samanik Pratar. And then after that, there is a Sunya Pind, again empty space. So after that, the Jeeves of Narak starts. So there is a first Pratar known as Narak Pratar, that is 3000 yojans. And here the Jeeves of Narak, they live in the Narak Pratar. Then there is a Antar where the Asur Kumar lives. Then there is again a Narak Pratar where the Jeeves of Narki lives. Then there is Nag Kumar Devta. Then there is Narak Pratar. Then there is Suvarna Kumar Devta. Then there is Narak Pratar. There is Vidyut Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Agni Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Dvip Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Udvati Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Dishi Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Vayu Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Stanit Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar. And after that, there is a Sunya Pind. After that, there is a 13th and last Narak Pratar where Jeeves of Narki lives. And then for the another 1000 yojans, there is a Sunya Pind. And after that, you have got Ganodadi Valai. This is a thick layer of water. Then you have got Ganvat, that is a thick layer of air. And then there is a Tanvat, that is thin layer of air. And below that, it's a Akash. So this is the cross section of our just the first Narak, that is Ratnaprabha Bhumi. So in Ratnaprabha Bhumi, you have got total 13 different sections where the Jeeves of Narki, they live. So depending on where you are born where the Jews are born in the first Narak, if you are born in the first Pratar, then your Ayushya is different. So for the first Pratar, the minimum Ayushya is 10,000 years, maximum Ayushya of the Jews is 90,000 years. If the Jew is born in the second Pratar, the Ayushya increases. As you go down, the Ayushya increases. So in the second Pratar, the minimum Ayushya is 10 lakh years, maximum Ayushya is 90 lakh years. In the third Pratar, its minimum Ayushya is 90 lakh years, maximum Ayushya is 1 crore years. And if you go down, the 13th Pratar, the minimum Ayushya is 9/10 of a Sagarupam and maximum Ayushya is 1 Sagarupam. So if you just look at the first Narkavas, the minimum Ayushya is 10,000 years and maximum Ayushya is 1 Sagarupam. But again, they have got 13 different places where they can, where the Jews are born in the first Narkavas. So now let's discuss, some of the pains of the Jews of Narki. So the Jews of Narki, they usually have 3 types of pains. So the first type of pain is known as Kshetrakrut pain. That is a pain because of the geographical reasons and the environmental conditions. The second type is the Paramadhami Krut pain. The Paramadhami, they inflict the pains, and this is only up till the third Narak. And the third type of pain is known as Anyakrut pain. That is a pain that each Narki they give to other Jeeves of Narki by fighting among themselves. So these are the 3 types of pain that Jeeves of Narki, they go through. So in today's class, we'll talk about the Kshetrakrut pain and also the Anyakrut pain. And in the next class, we'll talk about the Paramadhami Krut pain. There are 15 types of Paramadhami, and in each Paramadhami, they have got one, what you call a speciality or the way they give the pain. It's different. So we'll talk about that in much detail in our next classes. But in today's class, let's talk about the Kshetrakrut pain. So in Tattvad Sutra, there are 10 types of Kshetrakrut pain that is described. So first type of pain that all the Jeeves of Narki go through is the pain of hunger. So in the Shastra, it is said that the pain of hunger or bhuk is so severe and so intense that a single Jeev of Narki, they can eat all the eatables in the Chaud Rajlok. That means they can eat all the food grains, fruits, sweets, everything in the complete Chaud Rajlok. And then too, their hunger will not subside, but rather it will go on increasing. So Jeeves of Narki, they are in such tremendous torture of extreme hunger that they spend the entire lifetime, long lifetime, shouting and screaming under extreme pain. So that is the first type of pain, that is a pain of hunger. The second type of pain is pain of thirst. The pain of thirst is also so extreme and so severe that it says that if a Jeev of Narki, if he can drink all the water in the Chaudrajlok, he can drink the waters from the ponds, rivers, lakes, everything. And then that too, after doing that, his mouth, his lips, and his tongue will still remain dry. And he will always experience a sense of dryness. And the more he tries to escape from the pain, the greater the intense the pain becomes. So that is the pain of thirst. The third type of pain, the Jeev of Narki, is the pain of cold, and it is known as Shit Vedna. So it is said the pain of cold is so intense and is so severe that that if a Manusya living here, if he has got a cold or asthma and is not able to bear even the slightest cold temperature, if such a Manusya is made to lie down without the clothes in the most coldest place on earth, on top of the mountain, with the snow falling and with the extremely strong cold breeze, the amount of sufferings he will go through is nothing in compared to the Jeeves of Narkis. So Jeeves of Narkis will have asankhya times more pain of the cold than such a Manusya. Then the fourth pain is a pain of hot, that is Ushna Vedna. And it says that for comparison, a person who is in the Manusya lok, who is born in the cold climate and is unable to bear even the slightest heat, if such a person is made to sleep on the bed of burning coal and hot wind is blowing, the amount of pain he will go through is nothing in comparison to the Jeev of Narkis. So Jeev of Narkis will have asankhya time more pains of hot climate compared to such a Jeev in the Manusya lok. Now, one thing you have to understand, this pain goes on increasing from the first to seventh narak. So the seventh narak, the pain is the most intense. Then the fifth type of pain given in the Tattvar Sutra is the pain of diseases and pain of fever. So Narki Jeeves, they have constant fever. And they have got the amount, the number of diseases, they go on increasing as you go down. So in Shastra, it says in the seventh Narak, the Jeev of Narkis have got 5 crore 68 lakh 99,584 diseases. So, so the Jeev of seventh Narak as is constantly under pain of fever and diseases. Then the sixth pain is the pain of burns. So the pain of burning, the burning sensation, it is so extreme, and it is said that their body, both inside and outside, is always burning. And the more they try to find the relief from this torture, the more the pain increases and more it multiplies. And the seventh pain is pain of itching, and it's also known as kandu. So it says that the Jeeves of Narki, they have got a constant sensation of itching. And even if they scratch their skins with knife, swords, or any sharp weapons, the irritation will not go away. So there is an endless sense of itching in the narak. Now, eighth is pain of slavery. So there is no freedom in Narkavas. You know, the Jeeves of Narki, they always want to die, but they are unable to die because of Vaikriya Sarir. So there is no independence. They have constant feeling of dependence, and there is no mental or physical peace of any manner. Then the eighth pain is the pain of fear. The pain of fear is very, very big. Because of their avdignan, or what we call as vibhangnan, they are able to see the upcoming torture or upcoming calamity. So they know that some Paramadhamis are coming their way and how they are going to torture. So because of that constant vibhangnan, they are in constant fear, and they spend their whole life in fear and tension. And the 10th pain is pain of sorrow. That is the Jeeves of Narki. They are constantly crying, they are constantly screaming, and they are always in grief. And they spend the entire long lifetime in sorrow. So these are the 10 type of Kshetrakrut pain, or the pain because of environment and geographical conditions. And the next type of pain we saw is Anyakrut pain. So here it says that like in Manushya Lok, right, you have got dogs, street dogs, and these street dogs, they are constantly barking, fighting against the street dogs from other region. And similarly, the Jeeves of Narki, whenever they see another Jeev, they because of there is a always sense of revenge and always krodh, and therefore they immediately want to fight against them. And because of that, they fight against each other, they cut their organs and so on and so forth. And it's almost like slaughterhouses. So like the slaughterhouses in Manushya Lok, it's almost like that in the Narkavas. So this is Anyakrut pain. Now there is a Paramadhamikrut pain that we'll talk in the next class. There's lots of details given in there. But one thing to understand is the pain basically goes on increasing. So the first narak as the smallest amount of pain, and the seventh narak as the largest or the most intense type of pain. So now we will come back to our Bhagwan Rishabhdev's Jeevan Charitra. And, so far, uh, just for a small revision, we saw the first 12 bhavs in our last class. And we saw that in the first bhav, he was Dhanna Sartva, and while giving the Gochri, he got Samyak Darshan, and he also got Samadhi Manan. He took the 12 Vrats of Shravak in this bhav. And in next bhav, he became a Yuglik in Uttarkuru Kshetra. And in the third bhav, he became a Vaimanik Dev in the first Sudharma Devlok. And then in the fourth bhav, he became a Vidyadhar Raja known as Mahabal. And in this bhav, he had a mitra known as Swayam Buddha, who brought him to the proper marg. He took Ansan. And then in the fifth bhav, he became a Lalitang Dev, that is in the second Ishan Devlok. In the sixth bhav, he became VAJRAJHANGH Raja. And here he dies before taking Diksha, just the night before taking Diksha in Subh Bhav. And therefore, he is again born as a Yuglik in Uttarkuru Kshetra. And again, he goes to the first Devlok, that is Sudharma Devlok. And in the ninth bhav, we saw he became a physician, Jeevananda. And in this bhav, he cures a Maharaj Sahib of a disease. And there are 6 friends, and they all 6 friends take Diksha, and they all take Ansan. And the 10th bhav, they go to the 12th Devlok, that is ACHYUTA Devlok, where the Ayushya is 22 Sagropams. And the 11th bhav, where we were discussing last time, that he became a Chakravarti, VAJRANABH Chakravarti. And here in this bhav, he did Vistanak Sthap, उन्होंने तीर्थंकर नाम कर्म उपार्जित किया, निकाचित किया, and he was also a Chaud Purvadhar, a Shrut Kevali in this bhav. And we saw that he did Uttam Charitra for 14 lakh Purvas in this bhav. And in the 12th bhav, he went to Anuttar Viman, that is Ayushya of 33 Sagropams. So we were discussing that after completing the Ayushya of 33 Sagropams in the Anuttar Viman, the Jeev of Vajranabh Chakravarti, or Jeev of Bhagwan Rishabhdev, comes to the Kukshi of Mata Marudeva. And in this bhav, Mata Marudeva is asleep in the bed chamber. And when the Bhagwan Rishabhdev, Bhagwan's Jeev, comes to the Kukshi of Mata Marudeva, Mata sees 14 great dreams. So here Shastra gives a very good and very detailed explanation of 14 dreams. And it's very nice to understand these 14 dreams, what is the meaning of each of these 14 dreams. So let's first discuss the 14 dreams. So in the first dream, Mata saw a bull, and this bull was white. He was massive shouldered and with a long straight tail. In the second dream, he saw Airavat Hathi. So Airavat Hathi is basically king of elephants. And the Hathi was four-tusked, he was white, and he was charming. In the third dream, he saw a lion, or Mata saw a lion, and this lion was red-eyed, long-tongued, and displaying a banner among the warriors. In the fourth dream, Mata saw a goddess Lakshmi, and this goddess Lakshmi was resting on a lotus, and her eyes were also resembling lotuses. And she was surrounded by the elephants who were lifting the pitcher of waters. In the fifth dream, she saw a mala of flowers from various divine trees. In the sixth, she saw a moon producing radiant light of joy. In the seventh dream, she saw a sun giving a delusion that it was a day at that time, though it was night, destroying all the darkness. and having a blazing light. In the eighth dream, Mata saw a flag with a flattering pennant. In the ninth dream, she saw a pitcher or a comb of water, a gold pitcher, its mouth covered with a full-blown lotuses. In the 10th dream, Mata saw a lotus pond. 11th dream, a ocean of milk, pleasing the mind with the masses of high waves. In the 12th dream, an heavenly Viman with immense luster. In 13th dream, a great collection of jewels or ratna with radiant light massed in the sky like a collection of stars. In the 14th dream, she saw a smokeless fire that was like a collected brilliance of all the brilliant objects in the three worlds. So Mata saw these 14 dreams entering her mouth at the dawn. And Marudevi Mata, she woke up at the end of the dream and with a smiling face of lotus, as if pouring forth joy, unequal joy, she goes to tell the dreams to Nabi. So Nabi tells Marudevi Mata that your son will be the best of Kulkar. Now Nabi explains the dream in accordance to his own knowledge and own simplicity. So here, the thrones of the Indras, they shook. जब भी पांच कल्याणक होता है, जब इंद्र का सिंहासन वो हिलता है, so thrones of the Indras they shook, and Indra started thinking, what is the reason of the sudden trembling of our thrones? Then employing Avdhignan, he realizes the chavan of the first Tirthankar of this Avsarpini in the Bharat Kshetra. So here now what happens is, when the first Tirthankar is born, it is little different than how the remaining 23 Tirthankars are born, because in the first Tirthankar there is no dharma. अभी तक धर्म की स्थापना हुई नहीं है, so no one knows how to interpret the meaning of dreams, and therefore Indra Maharaja, the Saudharma Indra, the Indra Maharaja of the first Devlok, he himself comes to Mata to interpret the dreams. But after that, for the second Tirthankar, third Tirthankar, it all depends. Indra Maharaj may come, may not come. Another Kevali Bhagwan, they might interpret the dreams, or another Sadhu Bhagwan might interpret the dreams. So for example, in Bhagwan Mahavir's case, right, Trishla Mata ka dream ka interpretation KC Gandhar ne kiya tha. वो भगवान पार्शनाथ के परंपरा में एक साधु थे. So anyone can interpret the dreams, but in the first Tirthankar, it's always the Indra Maharaja who has to come down, because there is no one else who can interpret the dreams. So here Indra Maharaja comes down to Mata. He does Vandan to the Mata, does Tron Pradakshina to the Bhagwan, and he interprets the meaning of the dreams. So Saudharma Indra says, the sight of the bull in your first dream, your son will be able to lift up the chariot of Dharma sunk in the mud of Mithyatva. So that is the meaning of the first dream. In the second dream, a sight of elephant, your son will be the greatest of the great and the sole abode of great power. The third dream, lion, your son will be the lion among men, resolute, always fearless, with unflinching valor. From the sight of Sri Lakshmi, your son will be the best of men, will be Lord of glory of the three worlds. From the sight of Mala, of flower, your son will be auspicious, his rule will be worn as a garland by all the world. The full moon means your son will be pleasing, a joy to the eye. The sun indicates your son will be a creator of the light, that is Samyak Gyan, to the world and the destroyer of Mithyatva. The flag indicates your son will be a Dharma banner, a founder of Dharma Marg in this world. The kumbh full of water means your son will be a vessel filled of all the Atishayas, that is Ant Pratiharyas and Chautris Atishayas. The lotus pond means your son will take away the pain of all the Jeeves fallen in the desert of Sansar. The ocean, the milk ocean, means that your son will be accessible to all the Bhavya Jeeves and will give a Sanmarg to all the Bhavya Jeeves. The heavenly Viman means that your son will be worshipped and pujaniya by all the devs of the Vaimanik Devlok. The heap of jewels with a flashing light means your son will be the heap of jewels of virtues or guns. The flaming fire entering your mouth means your son will be respected by all the Pandits and Vidyadhars. So, hey Mata, it is indicated by these 14 dreams that your son will be the first Tirthankar of this Avsarpini, and his Rajya will extend to Samasta Chaud Rajlok. So, having related the interpretation of dreams and having done Vandan to the Mata, Indra Maharaj, they go back to their respective places. So here Mata Marudevi, her body is sprinkled with the nectar of joy by the Indra Maharaj interpretation of the dreams. She became very beautiful by the embryo. Her eyes became very wide open, as if extremely eager to see the face of his son. At that time, her wealth of beauty increased greatly. She became very beautiful. Even though she was carrying the embryo, the soul essence of the three worlds in her womb, she did not become tired. So, this is the power of Aryan Paramatma in the embryo stage, that Mata never gets tired. So gradually in the womb of Marudevi Mata, the embryo grew bigger. And by the power of this embryo, Mata Marudeva became extremely compassionate towards all the Jews. So she became compassionate by nature. And by the power of the embryo, his father Nabi was honored more than his forefathers by the Yugliks. By the power of the embryo, the Kalpavruksha becomes more efficacious. So if you remember the end of third ara, the Kalpavruksha, they almost had stopped giving all the results, but because of the embryo, Bhagwan Rishabhdev's Jeev, the Kalpavruksha became more efficient. So when 9 months, 7.5 days had passed, at the midnight of the 8th day of Chaitra, the planets being in the Ucha position, the moon being in the conjunction of Uttarashadha Nakshatra, Mata Marudevi gave an easy birth to a son or a twins. Basically, Yuglik paida hote, so a son and a daughter. Then there was a light in the three worlds. So if you remember, whenever there is a Kalyanak, there is a light in the Samasta Chaud Rajlok. And this causing surprise to the eyes of the world, destroying darkness. Even the Jews of Narki, they experienced joy and happiness during the Kalyanak of this Bhagwan. So now we will discuss the Janma Mahotsav of the Bhagwan. Now this is very interesting. It is very good to know how the Janma Mahotsav is celebrated whenever the Tirthankar is born. So whenever a Tirthankar is born, the first thing that happens is 56 Dik Kumaris, they come. Even before the Indra Maharaj comes, the first what happens is 56 Kumaris, they come and they do the Suti Karma. So Suti Karma is basically all the things related to the birth of the Bhagwan. So here Shastra gives a very detailed explanation of the Janma Mahotsav. So the first 8 Kumaris living in the Asur Nikai, their thrones being shaken at once came to Mata Marudevi. The names of the Kumaris are Bhogankara, Bhogavati, Subhoga, Bhog Malini, Tayodhara, Vichitra, Pushpamala, and Abhinandita. And they gave 3 pradakshinas to Bhagwan and the Mata and said, hey Mata, you are the mother of the world, giver of the light of the world. We 8 Kumaris living in the Asur Nikai have come here by his power to celebrate the Janma Mahotsav. Therefore, do not be afraid. Saying this, standing in the northeast region, they make a new birth house. So they create a completely new house that is made up of 1,000 pillars facing in the east. So they first remove all the gravels, all the thorns around the birth house, extending up till 1 yojan bhumi by means of whirlwind. And after that, they sit in the northeast corner and they continue to sing the stutis and the stavans. So likewise, having known the shaking of their thrones, the 8 Dikumaris living in the Mount Meru in the Urdhvalok. The names are Megankara, Meghavati, Sumega, Megmalini, Tayodhara, Vichitra, Varisena, and Balaka. So they come after doing Vandan to Jineshwar Bhagwan and announcing themselves as before. They quickly make a mass of clouds in the sky. For a 1 yojan bhumi around the house, they lay the dust completely with the perfume water. So वो लोग सुगंधी बारिश करते हैं. They made a shower of 5 colored flowers that is knee deep. So वो सुगंधी पुष्प का भी वर्षात करते हैं. And singing the spotless virtues of Tirthankar filled with joy, they stood in their respective places. So 8 Dikumaris living in the eastern Rucheka mountains, they come in chariots. The names are Nandotara, Nanda, Ananda, Nandivardhana, Vijaya, Vijayavanti, Jayanti, and Aparajita. So after doing Vandan and announcing themselves, singing auspicious song, they stand in front of the Bhagwan holding the mirrors. The same number of Dikumaris living in the southern Ruchaka mountains, they come there impelled with joy. The names are Samhara, Supradatta, Suprabuddha, Yashodhara, Lakshmivati, Sesavati, Chitragupta, and Vasundhara. They did Vandan and they stand on the right with the kumbh or kalash in their hands. Then the eight Dikumaris living in the western Rucheka mountains. They come in haste as if outstripping each other from devotion. These names are Iladevi, Suradevi, Prithvi, Padmavati, Ikanansa, Naumanika, Bhadra, and Asoka. They stand behind holding the palm leaf fans and singing. The eight Dikumaris living in the northern Ruchaka mountains, they come quickly by the means of Abhyogik devs who had become chariots like a wind. The names are Alambusa, Mishrakesi, Pundrika, Varuni, Hasa, Sarvaprabha, Shri, and Ri. After bowing to Jineshwar and his mother, they stood on the left side holding chamars and singing. Then four Dikumaris named as Chitraka, Satera, and Sautramani. They come from the intermediate points on the Ruchaka mountains, and they stand in the northern direction holding the Deepak or the light. And the four Dikumaris from the Ruchak Dvipa mountain, whose names are Rupa, Rupansika, Surupa, and Rupakwati. So these four Dikumaris, they cut the Bhagwan's navel cord, leaving 3 inches. They make a hole in the ground and they deposit the Bhagwan's navel cord and with the diamonds and jewels inside the hole, and they cover the platform with the grass as if no one can see it. Then to the east, south, and north directions, they make 3 houses. Okay, so they make 3 houses that are 4-room houses, and each of these houses is adorned with a lion throne. So as if resembling their own palaces in the Ruchaka mountain. So these 4 Dikumaris, they take the Jineshwar Bhagwan with their folded hands, and even the mother, they take first the mother and the Jineshwar Bhagwan to the southern 4-room house. And after sitting them on the lion throne, they anoint their body with the fragrant oil composed of 1,000 ingredients. So they massage the Bhagwan and they massage the mother with this fragrant oil. So after that, they take them to the eastern 4-room house, and sitting them on the lion throne, they bath them with the pure water. They rub their bodies with Gosesha Chandan Lep, and they put the garment of Dev Dushya cloth on and various Ratna Jarit ornaments resembling the flash of light. Then after that, they lead them to the third northern 4-room house, and after making them sit on the lion throne, they create a fire by 2 pieces of wood, and from that they make a amulet. Amulet is a ornament, and this ornament they give to Bhagwan for the protection of the Bhagwan against all the evils. And they say to the Bhagwan and the mother that your life be as long as Mount Meru. And then they bring back mother and the Bhagwan back to the birth house, and they start singing the stutis and the stavans. So this is what the 56 Dikumaris they do. First, before the Indra Maharaja comes for the Snatra Motsav, the 56 Dikumaris, they come and complete the Stuti Karma. Then after that, in the Devlok, there is a loud sound of the bells, like the sound of musical instruments at the time of wedding. And at the same time, the throne of Indra Maharaja, there is a Swadharma Indra in the first Devlok, his throne is shaken. And Indra Maharaja, his eyes becomes red with anger, thinking that who dad has challenged him to the war. Then Swadharmendra Indra, with composed mind, employs Avdhignan and comes to know the birth of the first Tirthankar Bhagwan in the Bharat Kshetra. So at once, his anger oozing from the joy becomes like a mountain. Saying this, he leaves the iron throne, and he takes 7 and 8 steps toward in the direction where the Bhagwan is born. And with the folded hands on his heads, and with the knees touching the ground, and his head erect with joy, he says the Sakrastav. So Sakrastav is a Namuttanam Stotra. So here Indra Maharaja says the Namuttanam Stotra. So that is also the reason why the Namuttanam Stotra is also known as Sakrastav. So after completing the stuti of the Bhagwan by Namuttanam Stotra, Here Sodharmendra Indra instructs the general of his infantry to that in the southern half of the Bharat Kshetra in Jambudvip, a depository of a good fortune, a Tirthankar Bhagwan has been born. And so summon all the devs for Janma Abhishek. So now the process starts of the Snatra Mahotsav. Then striking 3 times the bell of Sughosa, which has a sound radius of 1 yojan, he makes it ring. And with Sughosa, the bells of other palaces also starts ringing. So there are the bells, the rings in the 32 lakh palaces of the first Devlok, that is Sodharma Devlok. The general then announces to all devs. The general says, hear all of you. Sakrendra, whose command is not yet transgressed, instructs you with your devis that in the southern half of Jambudvip in the Bharat Kshetra, a Tirthankar is born. So please come to celebrate the Kalyanak Mahotsav of his birth. Hence, there is no other duty. So some from the devotion of Aryan Bhagwan, some drawn by Sakra's command, some made to move by their wives, and some carried along by their friends, they all come together under Sodharma Indra's presence. Then Sakra, he instructs the Abhyogik Dev named as Palak to create the Dev Viman, a celestial plane that cannot be copied. Then Palak makes a celestial plane that fills the sky with a flood of light with 1,000 pillars. This plane is 500 yojans high and 100,000 yojans square. And Sakra gives, and our Shastra gives some of the details of this plane. So it says that in the center of this Viman is a beautiful pavilion. This pavilion is 8 yojans in breadth and length and 4 yojans in height. And the center of the pavilion, there is a lion throne for Indra Maharaj to sit. And near the lion throne, on the northwest side, on the north side, and the northeast side, there is 84,000 thrones for the shamanic devs to sit. On the east side, there are thrones for 8 Indranis. In the southeast direction, there are 12,000 thrones for the devs' inner council minister to sit. In the south, there are 14,000 thrones for the middle council minister to sit. And southwest, there are 6,000 thrones for the outer council minister to sit. In the west, 7 thrones of 7 generals, and there are 84,000 seats of Atmarakshak devs in every directions of the Indra. So Sakra Indra himself took the seat facing east direction, and all the other devs and devis, they enter from every directions and took their respective seats. So here the Shastra describes the Viman, they come for the Janma Mahotsav. So in the front of this lion throne, there are 8 auspicious things that are going to be used for Snatra Mahotsav. Those are like mirrors and charmers and so on and so forth. So in the front of the aerial Viman, there is an Indra Dvaj, and this Indra Dvaj is 1,000 yojans in height. And then surrounded by shamanic devs, this Sakra himself, he looks like an ocean surrounded by rivers. His Viman is surrounded by various other Vimans from other devs. And this Viman sets out the journey from Sodharma Devlok as if it's splitting the sky. And after crossing Asankhya Dweep and Samudras, they arrive at the Nandishwar Dweep. So going to the Mount Ratikara, Indra Maharaja instructs the Viman or contracts the Viman. So they make the Viman smaller. So as this Viman is coming all the way to Bharat Kshetra, the Viman becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. And after crossing the Dweeps and Samudras, gradually contracting the Viman even more and more, they arrive on the central wall of the Dweep at the southern Bharat Kshetra. Then the Viman, it did the 3 pradakshinas of the birth house, like a sun going around the Meru Parvat. They parked the Viman on the northeast corner of the house. Then descending from the Viman with a gracious mind, Sakra did Vandan of the Bhagwan and 3 pradakshinas with folded hands on his head, and Sakra addresses Mata Marudeva. He says, I am Indra Sodharmendra of the Sodharmendra Devlok. Hey Mata, you are carrying a jewel in your womb, producing a light to the world, a mother of the world. You are blessed. You possess all the merit. You have the best attributes among mothers, and you alone are the purifying of the 3 worlds. We have come here to celebrate the Janma Kalyanak Mahotsav of your son. So you should not be afraid. And having spoken this, Sakra makes the Mata go to sleep. And here Bhagwan Dev makes the image of the Bhagwan and puts it besides Mata. Here Sakra makes 5 roop. So one roop of Sakra, he holds the Bhagwan in his hands with the Gosir Chandan. One Sakra goes behind, he holds the umbrella over Bhagwan's head. Two Chakras, they take charmers on both the sides, and one Sakra carries the Dhwaja and goes ahead. So here Indra Maharaja carrying Sakra in his hands, surrounded by crores of Devatas, they carry Hariyan Bhagwan to the Mount Meru. And here Sakra Maharaj takes the Bhagwan on his lap and he sits down joyfully on the lion throne in the Mount Meru in the Parvat or the rock known as Ati Pandukambala with in a place known as Pandaka. So here is where we'll end our today's class. So in the next class, we'll talk about the Snatra Mahotsav. So in today's class, we saw the 14 dreams of Mata, what is the meaning of 14 dreams, then how the 56 Dik Kumaris, they come and does the Suti Karma in preparations for the birth. And after that, the Indra Maharaja comes with the celestial plane, and then they take the Bhagwan to the Meru Parvat for Snatra Mahotsav. So in the next class, there is a very detailed and the description of Snatra Mahotsav. We'll see about how the Snatra Mahotsav is conducted by all the Devatas of various Devloks. So we'll end our class today here. So now, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Sheetal uncle, this is me, Vihan. Are there any temples in Narak?
Yes, there are. But not in the Jeeves where the Narki Jeeves are living. There are temples in the Antars. So like in the first Ratna Prabha, right? There are 12 Antars and 13 Pratars. So 13 Pratars does not have any derasars, but the 12 Antars where there are Bhuvanpati Devtas, there are lots of derasars over there.
Thank you.
So any more questions?
चेतल भाई,
हाँ.
तो जैसे कि ऋषभदेव भगवान और फिर युगलिका राइट साथ में बॉर्न हुए, तो युगलिका का कहीं पे वर्णन ही नहीं है, राइट?
नहीं है आगे आएगा. वो उनके साथ ही मैरिज होता है. उसमें युगलिक वो ऐसा होता है ना कि युगलिक काल में बॉय एंड गर्ल आर बॉर्न और उनका मैरिज होता है.
राइट. और फिर पर जबकि एक ही टाइम पे बॉर्न हुए तो भी ऋषभदेव भगवान तीर्थंकर बन गए, है ना? और जो युगलिका यानी वो भी साथ में ही बॉर्न हुए, राइट? ऐसे जब तो ऐसा कैसे कि नसीब एकदम ऐसा बोलते हैं, राइट? एक ही टाइम पे बॉर्न हुए सब कुछ, तो फिर ऐसे कैसे कि इतने नसीब भगवान के अलग और इनका?
या वो तो सबका अपना अपना कर्म भी होता है, राइट? या कर्म होता है. या पर उसमें ऐसा होता है कि अभी हम आगे देखेंगे, पर भगवान ऋषभदेव का जीवन में थोड़ा डिफरेंट था. उन्होंने तो मैरिज किया युगलिका के साथ, उनका नाम मैं भूल गया, पर उन्होंने सेकंड मैरिज भी किया था, ऐसा था. तो उनकी 2 वाइफ्स थी. जनरली सबकी एक ही वाइफ होती है. जो युगल होता है वो युगलिका ऐसा होता है. पर एक ऐसा था कि एक युगलिका थी जिसका युगल मर गया था, तो उसके माता पिता ने उसकी शादी ऋषभदेव के साथ कराई. तो उनकी 2 वाइफ्स थी.
जबकि साथ में मरते हैं तो भी ऐसा कुछ हुआ था क्या? कि
या जनरली ऐसा होता है कि उनका आयुष्य ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर होता है और साथ में मरते हैं. पर ये केस में जो दूसरा युगल था तो वो पहले मर गया था कोई कर्म के कारण. तो इसके कारण भगवान ऋषभदेव की 2 वाइफ्स थी.
ओके, ठीक है भैया.
Any more questions?
Chetan uncle.
How
big is one Raju?
So one Raju, if you remember in the first class, we talked about the meaning of one Raju. So it's basically Asankhya Yojans. So it's a countless Yojans. But to get a understanding, it says that if a Dev, right, he flies at a speed of asankhya yojans every second, and the amount of distance he covers in 6 months and 6 days is known as one raju. So basically, it's a countless yojans.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Yeah, in next class we'll talk about the narak in some more details, but it's very interesting how the narak and each narak is structured. It is very interesting.
और वो भी कवर तभी होगा ना, वो पराधामी कौन बनते हैं, उसी में कवर होगा क्या भैया?
Yeah, ऐसे तो I can answer. So that is a very good question. You know, who becomes a Paramadhami, right? That is a very good question because it's also a Dev Gati, but it is a bad Dev Gati. तो उसमें ऐसा होता है कि शास्त्र में एग्जाम्पल आता है कि who becomes a Paramadhami. तो जैसे ये जो तापस होते हैं ना, so तापस दे दो यज्ञ, एंड दिस यज्ञ में वो लोग जीव हिंसा करते हैं, वो लोग बलि देते हैं, जो जैसे पंचेंद्रिय जीव की बलि दी. You know, so in old times during भगवान महावीर हस्ती तापस होते थे. वो हस्ती मतलब वो एलिफेंट्स की बलि देते थे, उसको हस्ती तापस कहते थे. तो ऐसे काफी लोग होते थे जो यज्ञ करते थे और वो सोचते थे कि ये यज्ञ करने से दे विल गो टू स्वर्गलोक और देव ऊर्ध्वलोक. पर ऐसा होता नहीं है क्योंकि वो पंचेंद्रिय जीव की हत्या करते और वो बलि देते. तो वो तपस्या तो बहुत घोर करते हैं. दे डू लॉट्स ऑफ तप, उनका तप काफी होता है, पर वो पंचेंद्रिय जीव की हिंसा के कारण दे बिकम अ परमाधामी देव. और फिर उसके बाद वो परमाधामी देव दूसरे भव में, एक दो भव में वापस दे गो टू नरक. वो खुद वो नरक में जाते हैं क्योंकि वो पंचेंद्रिय जीव के हिंसा के पाप के कारण. सो दिस आर सम ऑफ द एग्जांपल्स वेयर क्यों लोग परमाधामी बनते हैं.
ओके भैया, समझ में आया. थैंक यू सो मच.
कोई और क्वेश्चन? ठीक है, आई थिंक
भैया सिर्फ ये सिंपल ही क्वेश्चन है ये. कुछ अभव्य कौन बनता है? मुझे मालूम पड़ा कि अभव्य जो कभी वही मोक्ष नहीं प्राप्त कर सकता, पर कौन बनता है अभव्य जीव?
नहीं, वो कौन बनता है ऐसा नहीं है, वो सिर्फ उसकी नियति है. तो देयर इज नो रीजन कि कोई भव्य बने कोई अभव्य बने. वो इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ हिज ओन नियति. नियति इज लक, मतलब जो कर्म से इंडिपेंडेंट जो होता है ना, उसको नियति कहते हैं. तो वो स्टार्टिंग से ही उसकी आत्मा की योग्यता के हिसाब से वो भव्य होता है या अभव्य होता है. तो अभव्य जीव मतलब ऐसा होता है कि इवन दो अपना सबका आत्मा तो सेम ही होता है, पर उसको कभी ऐसा संयोग मिलने वाले नहीं है कि वो मोक्ष में जाएगा. जैसे निगोद के जीव, तो निगोद में तो अनंत निगोद है और एक निगोद में भी अनंत जीव है. तो अनंत निगोद से जीव कभी भी बाहर नहीं आने वाले, राइट. तो वो सभी अभव्य कैटेगरी में आ जाते हैं क्योंकि दे आर नेवर गोइंग टू कम आउट ऑफ निगोद. तो उनको ऐसे योग्यता, ऐसे संयोग नहीं मिलेंगे कि वो उनको मोक्ष प्राप्ति हो सकती है. तो और वो भी एक कंडीशन है. और फिर जैसे ही जीव निगोद से बाहर आता है व्यवहार राशि में, तभी वही समय पे उसको उसकी नियति के हिसाब से उसका डिसाइड हो जाता है कि वो भव्य है या अभव्य है. एंड दिस इज प्योरली अ लक. जो कर्म से इंडिपेंडेंट है उसको नियति कहते हैं. वो रैंडम है, रैंडम असाइनमेंट.
ओके, तो सो इट इज नॉट रिलेटेड टू कर्म, इट्स जस्ट नियति.
वो जस्ट नियति, देयर इज नो कर्म एट दैट पॉइंट.
अच्छा, ओके, थैंक यू भैया.
या मतलब ये काफी अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. ऐसे फिर ना जाति भव्य होता है, दूर भव्य होता है, काफी टाइप्स ऑफ भव्य जीव्स होते हैं. तो यहाँ पे ना शास्त्र में एक बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल दिया है कि जैसे एक स्त्री है, राइट. तो एक स्त्री की योग्यता है कि उसका बच्चा हो, राइट. उसके वो योग्यता है. तो वो अगर मैरिज करती है और उसका बच्चा होता है तो वो भव्य, इस एग्जाम्पल ऑफ अ भव्य, कि भव्य ऐसे होते हैं कि उसको संयोग मिलता है और मोक्ष जाते हैं. तो ऐसे स्त्री को संयोग मिलते हैं और वो बच्चा कर सकती है, तो उसको भव्य कहते हैं. पर कितनी स्त्री ऐसी होती है जिसको कोई संयोग ही नहीं मिलेगा, राइट. इवन दो योग्यता हो नहीं हो वो सब सेकेंडरी है, उसको कोई संयोग ही नहीं मिलेगा तो वो अभव्य हो जाते हैं. और तीसरी सी ऐसी होती है कि उसकी योग्यता ही नहीं है, राइट? तो वो जाति भव्य हो जाती है। जाति भव्य भी अभव्य का ही एक प्रकार है कि वो कभी मोक्ष में नहीं जाते। सो सिर्फ भव्य जीव मोक्ष में जाते, जाति भव्य और अभव्य कभी मोक्ष में नहीं जाते, क्योंकि एक को संयोग नहीं मिलता है और एक की योग्यता नहीं होती है।
अच्छा, इंटरेस्टिंग है। ओके, तो भैया तुम मेरा ऐसे ही पता नहीं, ये मैंने जब छोटी थी तब सुना था, जो शत्रुंजय जाता है वो भव्य हो जाता है।
राइट, नहीं बराबर है, बराबर है। वो भव्य की 3 कंडीशंस है, उसमें से एक कंडीशन है कि वो शत्रुंजय का भाव से स्पर्श करे। अपने में ऐसा है, द्रव्य से नहीं, भाव से।
भाव से, ओके।
भाव से स्पर्श करे, कुछ तो शुभ भाव से अगर शत्रुंजय का स्पर्श करे तो वो भव्य होता है। पर द्रव्य से स्पर्श तो सब लोग करते हैं, एक इंद्रिय जीव, निगुत के जीव भी द्रव्य से स्पर्श करते।
हाँ, एग्जैक्टली।
तो वो भव्य नहीं हो जाते, पर भाव से स्पर्श करे वही भव्य होते हैं। तो एक ये पहली कंडीशन है। दूसरी कंडीशन है कि जिसको भगवान के जिसको वर्षिदान मिले वो भव्य होता है। और थर्ड कंडीशन है जिसको ये विचार आए कि वो भव्य है अभव्य, वो भव्य होता है।
ओह वाओ।
या अभी किसी को खुद को कभी डाउट नहीं आया कि मैं भव्य अभव्य हूँ, तो कितने लोग ऐसे होते हैं, तो उसका तो कुछ कह नहीं सकते कि भव्य है अभव्य है। पर जिसको ऐसा विचार आए कि मैं क्या भव्य हूँ या अभव्य, तो वो सभी भव्य होते हैं, क्योंकि उसको ही विचार आते हैं ऐसे।
राइट, क्योंकि उसको फिर पाप से डर लगे, राइट?
हाँ,
ऐसा
उसको पाप से डर
सोचता
लगता है
है, यानी
और
डर
तो
रहा है।
हाँ, मोक्ष जाने की इच्छा भी होती है, तभी ऐसे विचार आते हैं कि मैं भव्य हूँ या अभव्य। तो शास्त्र में वो 3 कंडीशन बताई है। तो इन शॉर्ट हम सब लोग भव्य है।
हाँ,
हम सब लोग भव्य है, अभव्य बहुत कम होते हैं। हम सब लोग भव्य है, तो वही मान के पुरुषार्थ करके मोक्ष जाना है।
श्योर श्योर भैया।
ओके,
यस भैया, अच्छा था आज का सब कुछ। वेरी नाइस टॉपिक, मजा आई। थैंक यू सो मच।
तो एक नौकार गिन लेते हैं। नमो ओरियंतारम, नमो सिद्धारम, नमो आयर्यारम, नमो जयम, नमो ले सवसारम, ऐसो पंच नमो कारो सव पापणां सर्व मंगलांच सर्वसिमरं मंगलम जिनाग्न्या विरुद्ध बुलायो मिच्छामि दुक्कडम। थैंक यू एवरीवन।
थैंक यू भैया, मिच्छामि दुक्कडम।